Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Reality Roundup. I'm Maddie. That's Mariama. And this episode, we are going to be talking about episode two of the Challenge All Stars Rivals. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm great, Maddie. How are you?
I'm doing good. Programming note, obviously, remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and look below at the little description box for the playlist for this season, I guess, and check out our
hmm
channel for other things that we yap about.
Check out all of our other playlists because
Yes.
you'll be able to see all of the shows that we've discussed so far
Mm-hmm.
or that
Those
we're currently discussing.
yes. Okay, well, let's talk about this episode. Did you like this episode?
Um, no.
Neither did I. I don't know if I've been spoiled by Era 40 or Era 40, Battle of the Eras season 40,
Yeah.
but I
The
is All Star supposed to be giving? Because it's not giving to me.
All Star gives in the edit, the music,
Mm,
um, and it has moments, but it is a different game.
hmm
Ultimately, this was supposed to be sort of like the OGs, the old school sort of like battlegrounds of like, I think on our first season we had like all of these legendary, but we had all of these like really old or much older players who hadn't been on the show on the flagship in multiple years, who may have retired somewhere in the 20s or in the teens
hmm
of the show, or who started in that first or second era or whatever. And that's really who we saw. And slowly but surely, we've been seeing more contemporary players, people that are still going to kind of return to the flagship. Um, we've been seeing more of those people in recent years, and it's for better or for worse. Because I remember like
Yeah.
on the first season, we have people like Tech and Latarian who had literally probably done like a challenger piece, but these are like old school real worlders and road rulers. Trishelle, who hadn't done a season probably since like Battle of the Seasons. Alton, who hadn't done a season since Battle of the Season. Ruthie, who hadn't done a season since probably like Battle of the Sexes, or maybe like one of the Gauntlets or something like that. Um, so it was like really, really like old, and then you had your legendary players like Darrell and Mark, yes, and et cetera, et cetera. But Anissa, who'd been gone from the flagship for a while, and it's a different game. Like it's a little
Yeah.
bit more puzzle heavy. It's not as like physical. It's not as
Yeah.
like crazy because there's some old biddies. Like it was some old biddies. I feel like the average age on All Stars one was probably like 40 something, and that average age has
Work.
been dropping lower, like lower and lower and lower in recent times. I really do wish maybe they just can't get all of those players to commit to coming back repeatedly because they do have like commitments like families and
Yeah.
children and careers and whatever. Um, but but yeah, like as we've featured more like contemporary challengers, I
hmm
don't know. I still have high hopes for this season because I still feel like we have a really really good cast on our hand.
hmm
And I think they will make it interesting, but I also think the game is just I wish the star kind of twist wasn't here, but I don't know that it's really
Yeah.
had like too much of an impact thus far.
Well, I mean, we've only had one elimination. Side note, but truly important. Did you know that our transportation secretary right now in this country was on the Real World and Road Rules?
What's the name of the transportation secretary?
Oh God, I think his name is Steve something. Oh my gosh. Hold please. Because when I learned this, he literally
Sean
yesterday.
Sean Duffy?
Yes, thank you.
I don't know that I remember Sean. We have other Real World and Challenge alum in parts of our government. I thought you were gonna talk about one of them, but I don't believe that I remember Sean Duffy. I'd have to
Mhm.
see like what he did.
I know he was on the Real World, and then it was like a Road Rules kind of thingy situation, the other one.
Yeah, he was on the Real World Boston, which I never watched because it was
Okay.
um a long time ago, and he was on Road Rules All Stars, which both are aired in like before 2000. To be honest, I really, really thought that this particular season of the challenge, um, Turbo and Nani were gonna be like the rivals pair to like really keep our eye on,
Mm-hmm.
for the drama. Baby,
Mm-hmm.
they're doing yoga at the top of the
No,
episode. They are they are barely like even like on screen this
mm-hmm.
episode, and
Mm-hmm.
it's the other pairs that are having like so much contention
Oh my gosh, falling apart at the seams,
at
truly.
the seams. I want to get right into the challenge because I I need to talk about Amber because Amber's acting up.
This is completely fair. Okay, so what about, oh, well, I did have a question before we got to the challenge.
Yeah, tell me.
Clarification on stealing the star. I'm still a little bit confused on how one steals a star.
Yeah, so now we know that the first four stars, because I think last season we had a number of the stars that were given out at the first challenge, and then there was an elimination, and then the last star was gotten at the elimination, if I'm not mistaken,
Okay.
the first elimination. So in this season, we now know that there are only going to be four stars, well, at least at
Hmm.
this point in the game. They were
Hmm.
all given out in the first episode, and now in order to earn a star, you have to either eliminate a team that holds a star, or you have to win an elimination and then steal a star.
Okay.
What and I don't think it came up, but last season, if you already had a star and you won, you could still steal and then you could give it to somebody else. Or if you went against another star holder and you also had a star, you would get their star and then you could give it to someone else. It didn't seem that Steve and
Okay.
Adam had an opportunity to steal, as they already held a star today. So
Hmm.
that was like the one little thing that was different, but that doesn't really matter. So basically, how you get a star is you either go into elimination against the team, like for example, Fessy and Amber today could have threw themselves in, sent
Hmm.
home Adam and Steve, and then kept their star for themselves.
Okay.
But
Okay.
otherwise, like let's say if Beth and John A had gone against like Nicole and Melissa, two teams that don't have stars, they could have taken a star from one of the four-star holding teams.
Gotcha. That was the part that confused me. Okay, that makes a whole bunch more sense. Because I was like, how would you steal a star if you already had one? But that's for people who do not have one.
Yeah, well, last season, even if you already had a star, you could steal a second one. You got a star when you won an elimination, right?
Mm,
So if you stole a second one, then you had to give it to somebody else. You couldn't,
somebody else.
yeah, you
Okay.
couldn't hold on to two stars.
But we just literally don't
Yeah,
know if we're going to do that yet.
yeah,
Okay.
we don't know if that's gonna happen. But I think it doesn't because we actually see some clips post elimination, and it didn't seem that Adam and Steve got that
No,
opportunity.
no. Okay. That makes sense. Now on to the challenge. A
Yes,
very
yes.
familiar setting.
Yeah. So this challenge was called, what the hell was this thing called? Edge of Glory. It's right here.
Hmm.
And in this challenge, they had 10 minutes to solve a math equation and then grab four flags that were just off of a ledge off of a very tall building. They didn't tell us the height. They have 10 minutes to solve the equation and grab four flags. And the way that they're doing that here is that one player has to lean over and grab the flag while their partner anchors them, with a tiny little rope. If the teammate falls, then both the other member has to fall off as well in order for
Ugh,
their time
ugh.
to stop. And the team that either collects all four flags the fastest or gets off the fastest,
Hmm. Hmm.
wins on the day.
Though I will say that the falling off, like dragging your teammate to fall off thing seemed kind of flawed. Nobody does, but like if you're leaning over and you fall over, you're dragging that other person. That other person might be hitting the platform before you go over the edge.
Yeah,
I was like, wait a minute, hold
that's
on.
why there's a little padding right there.
Yeah, because you
And
might literally bonk your cranium on the edge of that platform.
that's why we have padding and helmets.
I was like, oh Lord, but we don't see anybody get dragged.
No. We do see one team make the choice to jump off. Now, do you have any performances here that you want to talk about outside of Amber and Fessy? Because we will talk about them, But I was just so disappointed in pretty much every other team.
Everybody else was like not giving it.
This is why I was like kind of upset. I was like, this is so boring. I really do wish it had just been like a ledge and
Mhm.
maybe the flags were overhead or like onto the ledge like we saw. Oh, I've been watching episodes over the past week of like I've been watching Pluto and I've been watching like challenge seasons,
Yes,
like
you were said.
retro challenge seasons. So I watched a bit. I didn't watch all of them, but I watched a bit of Free Agents and like one of the first challenges there is where they have to like walk across that like spinning beam and like grab their flag and then get to the other side and ring a bell.
Hmm.
And I was like thinking that here, like, hey, why aren't we walking across a beam or something? Like, if that contraption that they had was just pushed to the edge and their flags were just like at the end and they had to like walk off and go and like grab like all four flags and then
Hmm.
walk back to stop their time, I would have rather seen that. I think it would have you would have seen more teams try
Yeah.
to get that right versus like leaning over. I do think that was a big
Ugh,
that was a
the
kind of a
leading
big ask.
was stressful for me.
I would have
The
liked to do
oh,
this, to be
the only
honest.
performance that I liked was Steve and Adam because they just were like, F it, we ball and jumped for that last flag.
Yeah, so when they did that, my thought was, why doesn't every like can I one my thought was when I saw Davon going, can I grab like multiple flags? Like can I just go one and two and like come back in? Because I felt like her
Ooh, I
and
don't
another
know.
person, like when they grabbed the first flag, like why would you like come all the way back? If you already leaned out there, just try to see if you can get the second one.
Yeah, I mean, they're
Um
in
and
a row. You could.
and then my other thought when Steve and Adam jump off is if jumping off stops my time and collecting all four flags stops my time, why don't I just jump up and we both just try to just grab
We
each
have as many flags.
yeah, grab as many flags as we can as we fall. Like, is that not permitted? I didn't have like clarity on that.
Well,
But
because they didn't clarify.
that's something I would have probably done. It's just been like if I'm with a partner that like doesn't mind, I'm like let's just jump off and then, like
And
one
grab
minute
as many,
flat
yeah.
and then they they reel us back in like instead of like going through the anxiety of like leaning and like being shaken and falling off anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, they did not clarify because I was confused when Steve and Adam decided to jump because I was like, falling is disqualifying, but jumping is not, I guess. So I was like, oh, okay, a little bit confused.
Falling is not disqualifying. If somebody falls, in order to stop your time, you just the other partner has to jump off then at that point.
Oh, but
Yeah, so
you're tethered together, so you're dragging that other person
I
anyway.
mean, if they're heavy enough, they don't have to get dragged. If they're heavy enough and afraid enough, they can just like hold their ground and say, "Nope, pull them off. Like we're gonna take the
Hmm.
DQ." So I guess like that's the point of having that like
Lord.
little distinction.
I also just
Um,
want to know how BTS of how they secured that platform to that helipad because I was like, ooh,
Modern engineering.
I know, but it's spooky, spooky, scary skeleton. Do you have any performances that you gave a hoot and a nanny about?
Well, uh, Steve and Adam, who collected four flags, and then the other was I was kind of surprised by Davon. I thought she did particularly well. She was
Hmm.
the only other of the she was the only person to get a single flag outside of Adam and Amber, and then of course Amber and
Hmm.
Fessy who won the day and got all four flags in record time. Now
Hmm.
this is where I was like, we got it. This is where I was like, it should have been a beam because Amber is the tallest man in the house. I mean, Amber.
I was like, hmm?
Fessy is the tallest man in the house, and Amber is one of the taller women in the house, if not the tallest
Hmm.
woman in the house.
Hmm.
Because watching the two of them, like at Amber was barely leaning to get
She was.
like she was like and Fessy is himself like having like really long arms. Even he was way back. Like compared to when Shane and Davon went, Shane was
Hmm.
basically like one step behind Davon to
Hmm.
ensure that she had enough leverage to stretch out and get the first flag. On the fourth flag, Fessy is lean, like he's like 3 feet away from
Hmm.
Amber because his arms are so long and
Hmm.
she's so tall, her wingspan is so long. Like they're basically just
They're chilling.
they're chilling.
They're
And
like perfectly balanced.
yeah, they're like, and also he's significantly heavier than her too, right? So
Hmm.
the counterbalance is like she wasn't going anywhere. Like Amber isn't heavy enough to like drag Fessy off that platform against his
No,
will,
no.
which I think a lot of other teams were disadvantaged. But I mean, it's proving my theory, right? I said Amber and Fessy were the team to beat, and they they have so many strengths that are going to translate really, really well to these challenges that
Yeah,
they really are the team to watch. And they made it look really, really easy today. I
they
mean,
really
they
did.
did it in like a fourth of the time that Adam and Steve went. And Adam and Steve looked really good. Adam and Steve did it in about 7 minutes. Amber
Hmm.
and Fessy did it in about two.
They were moving and grooving, and then we're gonna talk about the DQs, I'm assuming.
I mean, I really don't care to everybody else DQ'd. I think it's more interesting to talk about the teams that didn't go because of weather.
Yes. Even though something that I didn't notice before, but like TJ is very disappointed when people like do not participate. And I think Devon says like one of the worst things that could happen is like TJ being disappointed in you. And I was like, I feel that because I would be like,
TJ was
don't
nice
look at
here.
me.
TJ was nice here to these people. Historically, he's very mean. Um, at quitters. TJ hates quitters is one of his things.
Mm.
His one of his most famous lines is "See you never," which he says to a young man that was homesick.
Oh my gosh.
He was like if you quit, you're never getting invited back. He was like if you quit, if you refuse to do this, you're going home. You're not coming back. And kid was like I gotta go home. He was like all right, peace out. See you never.
TJ, I love you for that. I honestly do. I mean, I think ooh, Anissa kind of argues with him a little bit and is like, not today, leave me alone.
Yeah, Anissa
Um,
annoyed me, like, but it's because she was the first person that we see kind of
hmm
quit and not try. But then
hmm
once I saw everybody else quitting, I was like,
yeah.
they're all annoying. My girl Sylvia, a little disappointing, and then the audacity to refer to Kellyanne as princess over here because she wanted to do a challenge that you were too afraid to do. I need
hmm
you to be real. I need you to be
Yeah.
for real. Like,
Yeah. And I generally do not like Kellyanne. She gets on my nerves. She got on my nerves several times this episode. But in this, I was just like, she's willing to try. Like, you are the anchor. Kellyanne is
yeah,
willing to do the scary part or the scarier part. Like, you could at least give her a little bit of extension to try.
I need that War of the Worlds too, Sylvia, expeditiously.
Hmm.
Make it happen because you're looking bad out here, sis. You make me look bad because I think very highly of you. Anything else here from the challenge? We
I,
have three teams that didn't go. Do you recall who those are?
ooh, Big T and Corey.
No, they went.
No, they went. Who doesn't? Oh, Turbo and Nani.
Carbo and Nani, Melissa and
Um,
Nicole,
Alyssa Nicole, and then I don't know who else.
Leroy and Devin.
Oh, yes, yes, they don't go. TJ gives them the option of going tomorrow, though, right? Or they could not go.
Yeah, they basically have the option to forfeit today, and it's basically
Hmm
like they got DQ'd,
hmm
so they wouldn't win, or they can go tomorrow and try to beat the current best team, which was
Mm.
Fessy and Amber.
Yeah, and they all three of them decide to essentially DQ, and they're like, no. My question for you was going to be, is this like, do weather things like this happen
I've never
sometimes?
seen this.
Oh, wow.
I've never seen this. It was truly unprecedented. I was like, y'all ain't checked the y'all ain't checked the report. Like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
The few like little things that we've had. I don't think anything has ever led to. I can't really remember. I think we've had like sort of maybe like injury scares. That's like okay, we might have to scrap this because it was
hmm
a serious enough injury that we need to tend to that more than we need to continue.
Yeah.
Or like stuff like that, but never weather. Um, yeah, never weather.
Yeah, because I was like, oh, this is interesting. Because I was like, I wonder what they're gonna do. And it started to rain a little bit, and then it was raining a lot. And I was like, oh yeah, no, that seems definitively dangerous.
I feel like I still would have done it in the rain.
I feel like you would have done it. I feel like legally MTV was probably like,
Yeah, no, no.
absolutely not.
I feel like it was probably still safe to do, but it's just like, whatever.
The legality of it, yeah. But
I
it
think it would
was,
also look bad on TV to be like we forced these people to go hang off a ledge because they're like the ledge is not what's. I mean, maybe there is like slipping in footage, but like at that point, just jump off and grab all four flights. The worst thing they can say is that you DQ'd. Guess what? One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, 8 teams on the day DQ'd, right?
mhm,
7 teams
mhm.
on the day are also DQ'd. So you're no worse than any of the other ones. Like,
No,
or
no.
you jump off and you do it in 30 seconds and you win power on the day. Devin said something interesting where he's like, you know what, I'm not trying to make my spot hot. I'm not trying to blow it up. So I'm gonna take the DQ and
Yeah.
just kind of go home and go sit down, versus having to make a decision, which I guess.
I mean, in terms of gameplay, sure, why not?
All right, let's get back into the house.
Yes, we are back in the house. Um, this is well, I mean, this is only our second episode, so duh, but we start to see a little bit of like actual political gaming here,
Hmm.
with people whispering in stairwells and all of this hoopla. What did you
Well,
knowing these people way better than I do, what did we think of these strategies?
Frank the Tank is back. Frank is
I had a
scheming.
feeling.
Frank is scheming. He comes back and he's the first thing that we see when we come back, right? He
Hmm.
pulls in Nani, Ashley, and Nicole. I don't know. We just see them on the couch. I don't know if he pulls them in or whatever.
Hmm.
And he starts off like, "Hey, we need to get somebody in there who has the least connections," and he's not willing to give out a name at first. And Ashley's like, "Well, you tell me who has the least connections." And finally, he speaks up. He goes, "Adam and Steve. Adam and Steve don't have any connection." Um,
Which is
so
not true.
which, to him they don't, like, they're, maybe
Hmm.
he didn't play with Veronica and Katie. They were long retired. He's never played with Veronica, Katie, Adam, or Steve.
Okay,
So
fair
I
enough.
I think I think like he's never played with Nicole nor Ashley either. So I think like Nani's probably like the only person in that group that he knows. And Ashley K.
Hmm.
So he kind of starts talking to them, and the next thing that we see another group of four. We see Frank, Nicole, and Ashley K, who is his Real World San Diego
Hmm.
alumni and former teammate on Battle of the Seasons, all sitting down, and they're talking, they're discussing that again, and Amber walks into that conversation. And she quickly like puts it together. Hey, Nicole is really tight with Adam and Steve. I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut because it could get back to them.
Yeah.
Now, Amber Amber speaks a self-fulfilling prophecy because it does get back to Adam and Steve. But do you want to let
Hmm.
us know how it got back to Adam and Steve?
It gets back to Adam and Steve because Amber goes to talk to Rachel,
Veronica.
Veronica. And Veronica's like, well, girl, I know these people. These people are my friends. So
Veronica
I'm
doesn't say
immediate.
that to them. To her, Veronica's like, "Oh, okay." And then in confessional, Veronica's like,
She's
"Girl,
like,
be
why
for
would,
real."
yes,
Like,
I'm immediately gonna, what is it, run and tell it. Like, that is exactly what I'm going to go do. And she does. But then, because nobody knows, well, to the best of our knowledge, nobody knows about that stairway conversation. Other people who saw Nicole being told are like, ah, it was Nicole who did
yeah.
this. And
And
Nicole, in her very thick accent, is like, I didn't do
Amber is like pissed
it.
at
Hmm.
Nicole. She's like, "This is gonna get back. This is gonna get back." And she tells, like, if I was her, I probably don't discuss that with anybody except for Fessy, being like, "Hey, this is likely where the house vote is going. Who would we want to put up against them?" But like the
Yeah.
whole time, Amber is convinced that Nicole is spreading these rumors, and probably Nicole has probably spread her name and knows that she was in it. So
Yeah.
she's freaking out. She's crying. And I was like, this is the Amber V gameplay I don't like as much as like I've grown to
Yeah.
like Amber a lot like in recent years. This is the part of like Amber that is like so annoying. Like,
Mm-mm.
girl, get a grip. Like,
And truly get a grip. Get a grip in the same way that Beth needed to get a grip during the challenge, just hooting and hollering and screaming and crying.
what do you think about all of the things here? Like, who are you looking at kind of side eyed?
I'm looking at Frank side-eyed. I mean,
Really?
because I mean I don't know nothing about Frank the Tank, but the glint in his eye during confessional, I was like, oh, okay, we are feeling excited
Frank
about
is a
doing some
schemer.
volition.
Frank is a
Yes.
schemer for sure.
Mm-hmm.
He's bold, audacious gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he
I can see
brings
that.
that's what he brings to the table. Why are you looking at him crazy? What do you think he did wrong?
I feel like he did not suss out additional, maybe I'm just thinking about the traders, but I feel like he did not suss out additional information about whether or not his assumptions were true before he was just like, here's names, right? Because if with to me, with a little bit of like information gathering, he would know more about his blind spot, which is that Amber Amber. Adam and Steve actually do have connections in the house with people that are a little bit to a lot of bit more, they're more on their side than anything else.
So I don't think Frank won just, being results oriented. Exactly what Frank wanted to happen did happen. The House voted
Mm, true.
Adam and Steve in, and Fessy and Amber did not send him and Sam in, right? So he
Yeah.
avoided the House vote and he avoided elimination,
Yeah, that's
right?
fair.
So he was very correct in that like people weren't going like Adam when he says have the least connections, take that to mean that like have the least amount of people like dead set on not saying their names. Like there are there
Okay.
are there are certain names that will, like for example, Adam and Steve had Veronica and Katie and Melissa and Nicole who were like,
Hmm.
we will never say your name. Nobody
Hmm.
else felt that way about them, right? But
True.
when it comes to someone like Shane, Sylvia will never say Shane's name. Ashley will probably never say Shane's name, right? And there
Hmm.
are multiple other people. When it comes to someone like Nani, like there are probably a lot of people in this game that'll go, I'll never say Nani's name. Like Nani's my girl. Like
Yeah.
Leroy will never say Nani's name. Like their castmates from Real World and longtime friends. Devin will
Yeah.
never say Nani's name. Fessy and Amber probably will never say Nani's name, right? Because of that Casey connection. So, and maybe even like an Anissa, which is idiotic for Anissa, but Anissa probably will never say Nani's name, or at least not
Yeah.
unless, Melissa
Yeah.
and Big T are BFFs in real life. So his read wasn't incorrect to be like they have the least connections because
Okay.
while they do have connections, their connections are not necessarily with the power brokers of the game,
Gotcha.
and also their connections just are not enough to like keep them out of the vote, right? Like
Hmm. Okay.
Katie and Veronica are liked and respected, but they're not gonna be needle movers for other people on how to vote, right? Especially on
Yeah.
a day where they didn't win and don't have power. And
True.
same thing with Nicole and Melissa. Um, I think it was a good choice. I wish he had had more forethought to go, who's realistically gonna who is Fessy and Amber gonna put in? And I think he tried to get that, but Amber didn't
Yes.
really wouldn't give him much, and then ultimately put in somebody that Adam and Steve like wouldn't have really had a hard time beating. Because if I
Hmm.
was like Frank and I'm putting Adam and Steve, I'm trying to get at least one big guy in there, right? Because
Yeah.
especially if there's like if they're going against like a girl team, um, you know, we can I don't know. But like at least I want to know like there is a chance that if there is like a strength component to the game that team that I'm putting in has the ability to compete
Yeah.
in strength and possibly send them home. I might try to see if Fessy will do like a definite Leroy. That's the issue that I have with this plan is that I really think that like they should have been looking at one of the weaker teams on the day,
Hmm.
that wasn't going to get power, wasn't going to win, and that y'all wouldn't have to be
Well,
worried about in the future.
because either way, you either get rid of someone that somehow you get rid of somebody who was a real threat, or I guess, or you get stuck with the weaker people anyway. So it's it would be a more of a win-win in terms of long-term strategy. But instead they send in
A
John
team
A. and
that, well, they sent in Adam and Steve, which is a team that was surely to come back outside of like a few scenarios. Like I think if
Mhm.
Dario and Ashley K ended up in there, might be different.
Mhm.
Even in the same elimination round because they're younger, they're a little quicker, they're more uh nimble. But he's sending Beth. I mean, that's not his fault though. But I would have been thinking about both sides. Okay, we're
Yeah.
nominating someone, but Amber and Fessy ultimately are going to get a vote, and
Yeah.
their decision is going to really like be a huge indicator of how this will go. And are they thinking self-preservation as we saw that they were today, or are they trying to make a move? And if they're not interested in making a move, then Adam and Steve is too big of a shot for you to be taking right now, Sam. I mean, Frank, especially when your partner is Sam, because I don't think you guys can compete in a lot of these elimination rounds that are going to be coming forward. I want to talk about the other side of this. So we see, what was it? 8 teams out of 10 voted for Adam and Steve.
Hmm.
So they go in, but I want to talk about Amber and Fessy's decision. Because like the
Oh,
whole
yeah.
time when we saw Fessy talk to Adam, it was Frank or Sam or Dario and Ashley that
Hmm.
Adam and Steve presumably wanted to go up against.
Hmm.
Because Adam quickly clocks that Frank is probably leading this charge, and he's like, if I can't have them, then I wanna take out Dario and Ashley, get one of
Yeah.
those stars off the board. Um, but we somehow end up not on Ashley and Dario nor Sam and Frank, but
No, John A. and Beth.
John A. and Beth. What do you think about this decision by Fessy and Amber?
To me, it kind of felt like they didn't want to take a big shot, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so they picked low-hanging fruit with the hopes that it just wouldn't stir up that much of political stuff in the house.
Yeah. Like the thing here is sending in a weak team is not a bad choice on the day's winner. Don't show
Yeah,
your cards, right? Pick a team that you're not connected to, that you
yeah.
don't have anything with, and that's probably not going to come back because now your hands are clean. You said their name,
Hmm.
they go in, they're gone. They can't retaliate against you. They don't have a lot of
Exactly.
people that are going to do their bidding in retaliation anyway, as well
No,
too, right?
not with Beth.
I just was like, I don't know if they had a conversation with Adam and Steve before this, but I was like, if you get a name from the people that are going in and you're trying to like cultivate that thing with the strong teams and the star holders, why not give
Hmm.
them somebody that they want? Like I wouldn't have even been too scared to put in Frank and Sam because I don't think Frank and Sam win against Adam and Steve, especially in
Not,
something like this.
yes.
Um, but like even not knowing the elimination, I don't think they win, and I think maybe Amber has ties to Frank because it seems like she was very comfortable talking to him.
Yeah.
But like, who do you piss off? You piss off Ashley K and Dario. They DQ today.
I
I
mean,
don't.
it's that's why I said at the very beginning that I feel like it's not giving in the same way that Battle of the Eras was. Because I was just kind of like, oh, you picked low-hanging fruit, right? Like you
Oh,
picked
I
low
mean,
hang.
this is normal like first elimination gameplay. Like Battle of the Era is just like no one could hide because everybody was a big name.
Hmm.
So that's why it's not bad in comparison to like that. Like if you compare this to a lot of other seasons, it makes sense. Like you pick the weak team. Usually we send in the rookies. There are no rookies here, so you send in the weakest team, right?
Yes.
I was
Beth and
trying to
John
kind of
A.
like make sense of this. It's a fine move for Amber and Fessy. Like it keeps their hands clean. They don't piss off any of the other star holding teams.
Hmm.
So if any of those teams win on the next day, they know they're not, as long as they're not the house vote, they're probably not getting voted in by one of those
Yeah.
teams either. But I do think it was a decent opportunity to like forge something, a more concrete alliance with Adam and Steve by being like, we're gonna give you one of the teams that you want.
That you want.
And if you send them home, guess what? Same thing. Your hands are still clean, right? Like,
Yeah.
Adam and Steve got what they want. The person you sent in went home. Not a problem. I probably would have looked more at Frank and Sam versus the other. I think Frank might have a little bit more friends or whatever, but I think they get over it once they realize, oh, Amber and Fessy could have also said our names and they didn't.
Yeah.
And then you throw Adam a bone. He gets to send home somebody that he's really upset at right now. If he gets I mean, if he wins next time and you don't feel like going in, maybe he protects you.
Yes. Yes. I mean, this was our true because of last episode. This is our first kind of like glimpse of some sort of gameplay strategy
Yeah,
coming to fruition. But now that Beth and John A are gone, the to me, at least at this point in time, somewhat of the lowest hanging fruit, right? If whoever is next continues on this pathway of picking the hanging fruit, you're going to be, for better or worse, stuck with all of the
strong,
better players.
strong
That's kind
player,
of strong,
strong,
thank you.
strong team.
Um, which honestly kind of makes me think about um Battle of the Eras and the conversation around whether or not Tori Deal accidentally um orchestrated herself out of winning the final by doing what she wanted to do, which therefore left really strong players in the game and then became this self-fulfilling prophecy.
That's a good point. I think
Mm.
it'll be less of an issue here because I think it's a matter of time until um, Devin goes, got to get rid of Fessy or got to get rid of. Maybe not Fessy. I think they're cool now. They've squashed their beef, but he goes, I got to get
Hmm.
rid of Adam and Steve.
Yeah.
I don't think this is the last that we've seen of an Adam and Steve house vote or an Adam and Steve elimination round. I think they're
Um,
going to be pretty soon. They're going to become mainstay. Maybe they get a week off next week, but they're pretty soon going to become mainstays in the elimination round for the same reason. It's too
so
easy. No one's going to be upset really, except for Adam and Steve.
yeah.
And there's still an opportunity that maybe somebody sends them all home, and that's a really strong team you don't want to have to contend with in the final.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Especially because they don't seem to have a whole bunch of interpersonal drama. I mean, Adam is still holding on to that grudge, but it doesn't really
right.
seem to be affecting
No, it's
their
not.
work.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
All right. So John A and Beth are gone.
Hmm.
The All Star Queen is eliminated first because they tethered her to Beth.
And those confessionals at the end were a
She
giggle
was
and a
so
quack
mad.
for me.
She was so upset. Poor John
Hmm.
A.
Hmm.
Kellyanne and Sylvia are still here, who you told me was going home first. Just,
And damn, I wish
but
they had.
Big T and Corey are also still here, who I had going home first as well because
Wait, when did I say Beth and Jenna were going home?
you said they would play sixth overall,
Oh, God. Oh,
so they
I'm
would be the
already.
eighth team eliminated. I had them going home next episode,
Hmm.
or next elimination because I had Big T and Corey going home first, and then them going home after that.
Interesting.
But
Interesting.
looking nice, looking good.
Yeah.
After the elimination round.
Are we talking about Kelly
Oh,
and
we didn't even really talk about the elimination round, but it's okay.
oh yes,
After,
the jungle? What move? I
yeah,
think
the
it's
jungle. Yeah,
yes. One, LOL to the reuse of the props, but painted different colors.
reduce, reuse, recycle.
Recycle. I will say Loki did not understand what was going on.
I don't want to talk about it. I think we've hit on it a lot. I don't want
Okay.
to talk about the events of it.
Okay.
I just thought I should mention that since we skipped it. But I really do want to get after the elimination. Um, unless you really want to talk about what's going on
No,
here.
I just was confused about this, the setup of this, but oh, John A and Beth lost, which I guess
Yeah,
is the
they
only
just
thing
had
that
to
matters.
fit into the color that they roll and adding sticks to it each round. It was kind of meh.
It was
Um, yeah, after the elimination round, Sylvia versus Kellyanne.
I don't have anything nice to say about Kellyanne. I got to be honest. I
Okay.
get like I the animals thing is just like when she was like, when I see how the animals are treated in the United States, I was like, okay. Like I literally was just like,
That was a funny little statement, but like she only said that because Sylvia was like, "You have dogs, I have a family," which was really bitchy and rude.
it was
And
really bitchy and
like
rude, yes.
Sylvia honestly came in just throwing stuff against the wall. Hey, Kellyanne, I think you're condescending. That's your opinion. Like that's not that's not
Not that
a
that's your opinion, please. I just was like, it seemed so unnecessary on both parts, and they're just like literally
fact.
screaming at each other. And I was like, oh, brother, this guy
I
stinks.
don't know what the point of the conversation was supposed to be. Like, I wonder why they decided to sit down and talk and what exactly they were supposed to be talking about. Because I think they do have to sit down and talk and figure out how to work together, right? But
Yes.
like, what exactly were they supposed to be discussing? Because Sylvia just comes in being like, I don't like you. Okay, girl, we know that. Like, I don't care why you
I
don't
don't
like me. How can
know.
we work together? Like, there's 300 grand. You got kids? Yeah. You got a family? So figure out how to work with Kellyanne so you can win money for your family. Like, duh.
Hmm.
And I think
Hmm.
Sylvia was just much more interested in like taking shots at Kellyanne and
Oh,
telling her
100%.
how lame and weird and uncool she is.
I think
Yeah,
it's implied because of the nature of the episode and the DQ, their DQ. I think it's implied that that's what they were supposed to be talking about, but
maybe.
we don't get like that's just an inference,
Which
right?
is
Like we
also
don't get,
again, Kellyanne wasn't wrong there. Like we have
yeah.
a thing to do. Let's let's attempt. Like also you're doing the easy part. Like I'm the one leaning over the ledge and grabbing the flags. All you have to do is stand behind me and hold on to a rope, like and feed it in
Hmm.
slowly. Like I love Sylvia. I'm Kellyanne doesn't really bother me, but I'm not a huge Kellyanne fan. She can be grating and annoying at times.
Yes.
But Sylvia really didn't have a leg to stand on here as far as I'm concerned. And then just like inexplicably just criticizing Kellyanne's, I guess what we would call a lifestyle for no reason.
Yes, her lifestyle.
Baby,
Hmm.
matter of fact, Sylvia, don't let me find out that this was an out of wedlock baby because you can't talk about no family if there was no family planning. Like,
Oh my God.
let me find out what's the
The
name of your
Sylvia's
husband.
children, I'm sorry.
Like,
Not
like
calling your parentage into
I'm just
question.
saying, we're talking about families. Oh yeah, maybe it looks like she is married. I'm saying, like, we're talking about families. Like, if there was no family planning, like,
Not conservative Mariama making a
that's just
reappearance.
that's just a baby.
Just That's just a baby is crazy. It's crazy work from you. But it was so unnecessary. Like every bit of it on both sides of it, to be honest. I was like, why are we doing this? Is this supposed to be helpful? Is this supposed to solve the issue? Like in fact, arguably you hate each other even more now, which is going to make you even worse
I
teammates.
was about to say, why does Sylvia have a picture on her Instagram of Patrick Mahomes? That's just her brother, father. I don't know who that is. That man looks like Patrick Mahomes just at a glance.
For tomorrow, go birds.
um, that's so funny. Yeah, no, she got the wedding pictures right here, third row. Okay, shout out to you, baby. Got the ring.
She knew somebody like you was gonna come along and
I'm
was
just saying,
like, I want
I'm
proof.
not hating. I'm just saying, like, I'm just stating facts.
Okay. Hmm.
You can't be like, you got dogs, I got a family if there was no family planning. Now, I will also say, just because there's a baby and a ring, that also doesn't mean there was any family planning. There's a lot of
And
accidental families running
and
around.
let's discuss and let's be honest here.
A
Absolutely.
lot of oopsie families going on in the
God help
streets.
us. God help
Congratulations, Sylvia.
us.
Oh, that's your man? Then who is this young man?
How would I know the answer to
Hold
any of
on.
these
We're
questions?
gonna pause for the cause. We'll be right back. I want to show this to Maddie. Look at the camera. Okay, we're back.
Yes.
Um, family dubious.
And on that note, there's nothing left of this
I'm just saying
episode.
the family planning looks a little dubious. So
Oh my God.
let's watch our mouths. let's
Hmm.
let's not use that as
I'm
something to
not
throw.
participating in this. I would like it to be
Then let me
clear.
cook. Then let me cook.
You are
The
certainly
family
cooking.
planning seemed like it wasn't in the room. The planning wasn't in the room. The family was in the room, but the planning wasn't. And so let's just not be using that as something to throw in people's face, in
Diabolical
Kellyanne's
work.
face, specifically. Enjoy your dogs, Kellyanne.
Enjoy your sanctuary, Kellyanne. The money that you need. And then she says at some point, this
I'm
is
just
why I
saying,
like dogs
Kellyanne,
more than
if you
people.
need ammo, you could use that. Drag her,
Please don't do this.
drag her.
Kellyanne, and then Kellyanne screams, this is why I like dogs more than people. And then I was like, that's enough of this for
Yeah, I
today.
was. Let's relax.
Yeah, this is enough of that for today, Miss Ma'am.
Um, no, but Kellyanne wasn't wrong. Like, Sylvia
Hmm.
came in, didn't do the challenge, then you came in and insulted me. And when I
Hmm.
just try to kind of correct things a little bit, you got a little tight. And
Hmm.
then you talk about a family, but it didn't seem like there was much planning for the family. Um, you know, I'm just saying.
I,
I'm
you
just
know what?
saying.
It will be funny as hell if Kellyanne brings it up later on. I hope
We
she
can't
doesn't, but
we can't be bragging on the accidental family. Like, we can, just we can't be throwing it in people's faces if it was accidental and unplanned.
oh my. Okay. Yep.
I feel like yeah, it was great. I did, because I did watch the episode twice. So the second time I watched,
Oh.
I really didn't care about the fight. I was just looking at what I was like, who's around? What's going on? So I saw
Hmm.
Fessy in the background just jogging, getting his workout in, unbothered. Then I saw
Unbothered.
Turbo, and he was just standing like right next to the couch with his fanny pack on, just like, I think he was like eating a snack or drinking
What
water or
is in
something.
the fanny pack?
This is what I want to know, girl. Why would you take that fanny pack off?
What's in it, babe?
And it's
What's in
so
it?
big, it's so full.
It looks like it is sagging off of his hips from the weight of whatever is in there. What's in there, babe?
Maybe protein bars, but that's it. That's all I
Secrets
have.
and lies.
Do you have anything else?
That is it for me. I will say that I do like that we get to like see people pack up and leave. I don't know if that's a normal thing, but
Very
I do
normal.
like that.
Very normal.
That was fun. And then obviously John A or Beth in confessionals being like, "We've made so much progress, we're friends now," and John A being like, "I hate her and I never want to see her
But John
again."
A wasn't saying that to her face though. John A was like, "Give me a call. Yeah, let's talk." Like,
Yeah, I'm like,
girl,
okay,
get a
girl.
grip. Anyway, thank you
Yes.
all for watching. This has been the Reality Roundup. Challenge All Stars Rivals episode 2 in the books. Can't wait for episode 3. We'll see you all there. Please check out the description box below for
Mhm.
um, episode 1.
Mhm.
Um, oh, here's a small note. So I had some problems because episode 1
Mm.
mentions the blind react video. We have some problems with the blind react video, so I will um, be dropping the clips sporadically between the rest of the episodes going forward. And whenever Maddie ranks someone, I'll just drop her ranking once we find out that
You
they've been
know,
eliminated.
that's fair. That's fair.
Well, it's been fun. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.